watching this episode. Hopefully I record this correctly.
For Sheriff Alfonso Williams' campaign. Here they are again. The sheriff posted this when McCafferty opened the Waynesboro Huddle House. But back to that 911 call where McCafferty's daughter says he shattered her car's windshield, something he doesn't deny.
Tell her. Give her my key. The next thing I know, I blacked out and the baby had a little toy in and I threw it through the windshield. If you want to take me to jail, take me to jail.
While one WPD officer talks with Andy, another officer goes to his daughter's house to see the damage.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Andy's daughter asks for a county deputy.
Can I have a county cop come out here too?
Here, give us 1 second.
Minutes later, Burke County Deputy Tanner Bowman shows up to the house.
She just said she wanted y'all to work it instead of us.
Really?
Yeah.
10-4. The complaining is trying to disregard the city and they want the county to work it.
Even though this happened in city limits.
I'm already familiar though because he owns the Huddle House.
Yeah. That's why they don't like this working.
After talking with the daughter, Deputy Bowman explains this situation falls under family violence in the state of Georgia.
Unfortunately, when it comes to family violence situations like that, the state takes over. So at that point, it is pretty much in our hands, and we have to make a decision on it.
He has court tomorrow.
What's he got court for?
Beating up the guy at the gas pump. Do y'all remember that?
I heard about it, but I don't know much about it. Okay.
So the man up at the gas pump.
Rewind here for a minute. McCafferty did have court the next morning for a felony aggravated assault and battery case from 2023. He was out on bond for that case. The sheriff let him out on his own recognizance.
Andy Mack's his name, come out of the Dale Mac fried chicken, came in here and assaulted.
Really quickly, so this guy's out on bond, sheriff's friend, buddy. Family violence in Georgia, they do not play around with. It is a mandatory arrest. That's why he was ultimately not charged, as you'll see.
Me pushed me, got me on the ground and hit me right here by the truck. Grabbed me by the throat.
That same day, officers went to arrest Andy McCafferty at his shop, but Andy was already out of town. He told WPD investigators one of his first calls was to the sheriff.
If we can get you to turn yourself in today, you can bond out today off of the misdemeanor.
Yeah, but I've already talked to Alfonso. I'm out of town.
But it's not Alfonso. It's not Alfonso. This is the city.
And that's why I called Alfonso, just because he's the only contact I have, because I knew the city was doing it.
McCafferty would later plead guilty to just battery charges in that 2023 case, which he's currently on probation for. Back to the scene, another Burke County deputy arrives.
The guy named Andy, he owns the Huddle House down there.
So you're telling me he's on probation? On probation. While this incident is happening right now.
Apparently he's real good with everybody in the county. And I guess there's a lot of situations where he just thinks because he's real good with everybody in the county, he can just kind of do whatever he wants.
It's not that he thinks because he's good with the sheriff and all the county officials that he can get away with it whatever he wants, deputy. It's that he does. He continually gets away with things.
Because he does.
Gets deals that nobody else would get, gets PR bonds, gets released, doesn't spend any time in jail. This is what happens. This is exactly what happens in our government.
Both deputies talked with the daughter.
Our sole job is to determine if a crime is being committed, and one has, and it's family violence, and we must act on those.
Sergeant Hickson then gets on the phone with Lieutenant Aaron Hans about the situation.
Family violence.
So if it's family violence, what happens with family violence? Family violence usually, somebody gets charged because they say the state takes control. Somebody gets charged.
Damage to property over $500.
About 15 minutes later, Lieutenant Hans shows up to the house. He looks at the damage and explains the situation to the daughter, explaining options concerning a family violence charge.
Would you be satisfied with a citation for what we call disorderly conduct on him, and he'd have to go in front of a judge and everything? Would you be satisfied with that?
Right then, Lieutenant Hans gets a phone call from the sheriff at 9:36. But according to the sheriff's phone records, he received a call from this number 9 minutes prior to calling Lieutenant Hans. That number matches the one Andy McCafferty used on his 2023 bond document.
I don't know about you guys. Does the sheriff usually call when you have law enforcement contact? Does the sheriff personally call the deputies on the scene right after receiving a phone call from
Absolutely
the
not.
suspect?
This is it on body cam. McCaffrey pulls out his phone, dials a number, and hands his phone to his daughter. She walks away. The sheriff's phone records show the call was 2 minutes, which lines up with the body cam.
Okay. So as far as a report, just do a disorderly conduct instead of family violence.
Disorderly conduct would allow first of all, it's less consequences, and it allows him not to be arrested and taken to jail as he should be.
Because if we do a family violence, it's going to be a regular charge.
But can they do that? Negotiate the charge. All deputies on scene agreed this was family violence. State law in Georgia on family violence includes criminal damage to property and criminal trespass. State guidelines on family violence say officers shouldn't tell victims what to do in these situations. If the victim doesn't want to press charges, the case goes to the DEA to review. If an officer thinks a crime happened, the preferred response is arrest. None of those guidelines were followed, and Lieutenant Hans gets the daughter to agree only to a citation. Everything changed after the sheriff made a phone call.
That was part one. Disorderly conduct. Go down there and give him a citation for the disorderly conduct. I think y'all can get that figured out. Okay. Are you okay with that avenue?
Why are you asking her if she's okay with that avenue, Deputy? I mean, you
Right.
got your orders from the corrupt Sheriff Alfonso Williams.
I thought you said this was your decision.
It was. Until other people got involved.
Deputy Bowman pulls the supervisors aside.
All I'm saying is, I understand. Okay.
What we're about to witness right now, this is why no good cops exist. And I'm going to be bringing on a former law enforcement officer on the channel live so he can explain to you why there are no good cops. You know, I have my own opinion on that, but this is what happens when good cops try and do something.
But at the end of the day, if this was any resident in Burke County, they would be going to jail. I understand. Okay. But at the end of the day, if this was any resident in Burke County, they would be going to jail. I don't agree with it at all. So, in the most respectful way possible, if this is the route we're going to go, I don't want to be a part of it.
Good
I
for
don't.
him.
I don't want to do this report. I don't want to be a part of this.
Good for you,
And
dude.
I'm not trying to disrespect either one of you, but if this is the route we're going because of who he is, I don't want to be a part of it.
Well, that's the course that the sheriff has advised us to do. So.
Lieutenant Hans admits the sheriff is controlling the situation.
But I just know how it is, and if this was a different Burke County resident, it would not end this way.
Right.
Andy McCaffrey was only given a slap on the wrist, a court date, and was able to go home that night. The deputy who spoke up about McCaffrey getting special treatment, Deputy Tanner Bowman, he was fired.
Deputy Tanner Bowman here. If anybody knows this officer, this former deputy now, please get him in contact with me. I would love to speak to him. It takes guts to stand up to supervisors and the sheriff himself when you know that the sheriff is actively involved in the situation. This is the sheriff's friend, and to stand up and say, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of this cover up. I don't want to be a part of this corruption, preferential treatment, selective enforcement of the law.
Yep.
And he was terminated because he dared stand up for justice, which is his job. I mean,
Getting special treatment, Deputy Tanner Bowman, he was fired.
His job is to protect the Constitution, which he just tried to do. Fucking...
Bowman filed a complaint with the county. He felt only a citation was given because the sheriff and the suspect are friends, and he publicly and financially supports the sheriff.
Okay, I'm gonna write you a ticket, disorderly conduct. Put a court date on it, give it to you, cut you loose, go on to the house.
The sheriff, once again, potentially changing the outcome of what would normally land you behind bars. Prominent.
Yep. Look at that fucking shit, dude.
And that is not the only thing. This sheriff, the Channel 12 here, this is happening in Burke County, Georgia. The sheriff is Alfonso Williams. because I see a lot of people asking, this is not even the only thing. He has misspent funds. He's allegedly done a lot of corrupt things, but he also made a DUI for one of his friends and fellow public servant disappear. Check this out. Absolutely insane. Make sure you guys hit that like button so that way this video can be seen. We can expose the sheriff
Oh boy.
together.
Alfonso Williams. For months, the I-team has looked into sheriff's spending habits, travel expenses, and allegations of cases seemingly disappearing.
And now our I-team's Will Rio shows us how a Burke County employee's DUI case is nowhere to be found in the court system.
More than a year ago, on July 19th, 2022, Deputy Brittany Nelson with the Burke County Sheriff's Office pulls over a vehicle on Highway 25.
How you doing?
Hey, good evening.
All right, how you doing?
Good. Deputy Nelson with the Sheriff's Office. I stopped you for speeding through the construction zone.
I wouldn't do it with 60.
You were going 80 when you passed me.
The driver of the vehicle is the Assistant Director of the Burke County Rec Department, Robert Allen.
When I got up behind you there, you guys were weaving in and out of the lane. Is there any reason you weren't maintaining your lane?
Okay.
I mean, I'm just asking why.
Okay.
Is there any reason you weren't able to stay in your lane?
Okay.
Okay, or yes, or...
I'm good.
Okay.
Is there any reason you couldn't stay in your lane? Okay. I mean, this guy should have had attorney shield if you wanted to really, protect his rights, but...
Okay.
But you got anything to drink tonight, Mr. Allen?
Name drop.
I had a couple of beers, so I'll be heading home.
Allen tells Deputy Nelson he was coming from a party in Augusta and was on his way home. At that time, Deputy Richard Fuse stops to help Deputy Nelson with the traffic stop.
You want to do an eval? Because he admitted to drinking and he was blowing past.
Guys, go watch him. He is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Stand up for your rights, people. Stand up for tyranny and corruption.